Hello, aspirants. You're hearing to the Aspirant Voice, a podcast series on complex UPSC current affairs where it will make you simple to understand and remember well. In this episode, we are going to discuss about democracy revival versus democide. What is democide? It is nothing but killing the democracy. Now let's understand what is the importance, why the democide is this a huge term is being used nowadays. Because in the many parts of the world, the democracy is declining and a kind of autocracy is being applied. Let's discuss deep about it in the topic. The global surveys are everywhere reporting dipping confidence in democracy and market jumps in citizen frustration with government corruption and incompetence. Young people are the least satisfied with the democracy, much more disaffected than previous generations at the same age. In a democracy report 2021, Sweden's Freedom Institute noted that India has almost lost its status as a democracy. It ranked India below Sierra Leone, Guatemala, and Hungary. In this context, it is important to understand the true meaning and challenges of the democracy that India is facing now. Before that, let's understand what is democracy. Democracy is a form of government in which power ultimately comes from the people who are governed either through direct voting or through elected representatives. Democracy is a whole way of life. It is freedom from hunger, humiliation, and violence. Democracy is saying no to every form of human and non human indignity. It is respect for women, a tenderness with children, and access to jobs that bring satisfaction and sufficient reward to the life comfortably. And democracy is a public and private respect for different ways of living. It is humility that is the willingness to admit that impermanence renders all life vulnerable, that in the end nobody is invincible, and that ordinary lives are never ordinary. Democracy is equal access to decent medical care and sympathy for those who have fallen behind. It's the rejection of the dogma that things can't be changed because they are naturally fixed in stone. Now understand what is the conceptual framework of global state of democracy. The first one is representative government, that is elected government, free political parties and inclusive suffrage, adult suffrage and clean elections. The second most important thing is fundamental rights, that is social rights and equality, civil liberties and access to justice. The third one is checks on government, that is effective parliament and judicial independence and also the media integrity. You have to note this clearly. The fourth one is the participatory engagement, that is local democracy, direct democracy, electoral participation, civil society participation. And the fifth one is impartial administration, that is predictable enforcement and absence of corruption. These five together will form the conceptual framework of global state of democracy. So basically, why democracy for us? You have to understand because the idea of democracy derives its moral strength and popular appeal from the key principles, that is individual autonomy and equality. And the basic forms of democracy are of two types, that is direct democracy and representative democracy. Direct democracy is like citizens participate in the decision making personally. Example Switzerland. They will take referendum on every change of the law they make. And the representative democracy is elected officials represent a group of people. It is an element of both parliament and presidential systems of government. For example, you can say India, UK, US, etc. And essential elements of democracy are freedoms, respect for human rights, and holding periodic and genuine elections by universal suffrage, that is adult suffrage. So, the true meaning of democracy, you have to understand that is democracy is much more than pressing a button or marking a box on a ballot paper. It goes beyond the mathematical certitude of election results and majority rule. It is not reducible to lawful rule through independent courts or attending local public meetings. Democracy is a whole way of life and it is freedom from hunger, humiliation, and violence. Democracy is saying no to every form of human and non human indignity that I have talked about. What is the causes for death of democracy? Is democide is really happening? Let's understand. Government failure. This is one of the major causes because the wild rumors and talk of conspiracies flourish and the street protests and outbreaks of uncontrolled violence happens and fears of civil unrest spread and the armed forces grow agitated. As the government taught us, the army moves from its barracks onto the streets to quell unrest and take control. Democracy is finally buried in a grave and it slowly dug for itself. The military coup detects against the elected government of Egypt 2013, Thailand 2014, and Myanmar and Tunisia 2021 are some of the examples. And the second most important cause, or the reason you can say, is weak institutions. When the judiciary becomes vulnerable to cynicism, political meddling, and state capture, threat to democratic values and constitutional morals emerges. And the third one is social emergencies. When social fabric weakens and the threat to democracy emerges, democracy suffers slow motion social death. And when a constitution promises its citizens justice, liberty, and equality, the division among and shattering of the social life induce a sense of legal powerlessness among citizens. The other cause is inequality in the society. Massive imbalance of wealth, chronic violence, famine, and unevenly distributed life chances also make a mockery of the ethical principle that in a democracy people can live as citizen partners of equal social worth. The another cause could be unavailability of basic amenities like domestic violence, rotten healthcare, widespread feelings of social unhappiness, and daily shortages of food, housing destroy the people dignity, and it kills the spirit and substance of the democracy. Now, the another reason could be uh, vulnerable remain unheard. Yes, citizens' ability to strike back and to deliver millions of mutinies against the rich and powerful is inherited in a democracy. But the brute fact is social indignity undermines citizens' capacity and to take an active interest in public affairs and to check and humble the powerful. The other reason could be demagoguery. Okay, this term is quite new. Let's understand. When democratically elected governments cease to be held accountable by a society weakened by poor health and low morale and joblessness, demagogues are prone to blindness and ineptitude. They make careless, foolish, and incompetent decisions that reinforces social inequalities and iniquities, and those who exercise power in government ministries, corporations, and public-private projects aren't subject to democratic rules of public accountability. In case you think you heard it somewhere, you are hearing it every international government, and recently in India too, it is happening. The other cause could be ineffective redistribution. That is, in the absence of redistributive public welfare policies that guarantee sufficient food, shelter, security, education, and healthcare to the downtrodden, the ideal of democracy weakens among citizens, and democracy begins to resemble a fancy mask worn by wealthy political predators. Society is subordinated to the state. People are expected to behave as loyal subjects, or else the suffer should be the consequence. And suffer in the sense it's not Hindi suffer, it's English suffer. Now, let's have a brief look on democracy in India. Ancient India had democratic republic even before 6th century BCE, and India has been democratic rule through ages, like Vaishali in present day Bihar, okay, is considered one of the first republics around 6th century BCE. Republics at that time were called Mahajanpadas and Sabhas and Samtis. The assemblies used to be there and they existed. And panchayat systems were also used in some of these republics. And anti-colonial movement in India brought democracy in picture during the British rule in India. The likes of which Nehru, Gandhi, Ambedkar, etc. helped in bringing universal adult franchise at a time when literacy rate was very low in the nation. Government of India Act 1935 laid foundation of democratic rule in India. Although Gandhi wanted village republic as a basic unit, India went for Westminster type of political model. But India granted universal adult franchise under Article number 326 of its constitution, effective since 1950, giving a strong base for democracy and made India the world's largest democracy. Indian Republic at present has a parliamentary system of democracy and a field federal structure in which leaders are elected by citizens of various castes, classes, religions, etc. Even the gender is not an issue because we have the equality that even women can participate in the election. But what are the recent incidents that are confirming democide? The best example is NIA Amendment Bill 2019. The amendment to the National Investigative Agency Act gives the agency authority to investigate crimes committed by persons which are against Indian citizens or affecting the interests of India. However, the term affecting the interests of India is undefined and can be misused by the government to curb freedom of speech and expression. There are so many examples, and the sedition law is a kind of similar to this one. Now, the other reason could be, this incident is bypassing the parliament committee system. That is, according to data by PRS Legislative Research, while 60% of the bills in the 14th Lok Sabha and 71% in the 15th Lok Sabha were referred to the departmentally related standing committees concerned. This proportion came down to 27% in the 16th Lok Sabha. So, apart from DRSCs, there are negligible bills referred to select committees of the houses or joint parliamentary committees. And the last bill referred to the joint parliamentary committee was the right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement, that is second amendment bill in 2015. I mean that means it's second amendment bill in the sense in that particular Lok Sabha session, Lok Sabha period. I mean government period, you can say that 5 years. So then information technology, the intermediate guidelines and digital media ethics code rules, to ID rules 2021. Now how to save the democracy? You can save the democracy by constitutional renaissance. Renaissance. It refers to the process of constant repair and renewal of constitutionalism as a function of adjudication. It includes like obeisance to the constitutional spirit, vision, and letter, the interpretation of the constitution by the judiciary in a way that glorifies its democratic spirit and reflects a reverence towards the constitution, and the protection of rights of all, which means that people are true sovereign and they should not be treated as just subjects, and all forms of public power should be placed at the service of the constitutional ends. And also the constitutional morality should be saved. The purposive interpretation should be made like this refers to the interpretations of the constitution by the judiciary in light of the interest of the people of India and maintaining institutional integrity. And good governance is very much important to save the democracy. Good governance in sense they should be accountable and they have to make the schemes in such a way that it will help the people and people should be happy with that. And in case of dissatisfaction of the people, the government should be accountable to them. And also the voices should be heard, that is the government should hear criticism rather than rejecting it outrightly, saying too much of democracy. So suggestions on eroding democratic values need a thoughtful and respectful response. The other could be checks on executive powers. The press and the judiciary, which are considered the pillars of India's democracy, require it to be independent of any executive interference to enable auditing of the chances. And now the need for the strong opposition, this is very much important because in a democracy opposition is very much important, same as the government. The strong democracy requires and strong opposition. Without an alternative choice, the very objective of election to provide a check on arbitrary power gets defeated. And the social equality is very much important to save the democracy because if redistributive public welfare policies are effective, the inequality in the society would be reduced. Thus, it must be priority of the government to maintain social and economic equality and inclusive growth. So, on this note, you have to understand that the institutionalization of constitutional democracy has helped the people of India realize the importance of democracy and inculcate democratic sensibilities among them. At the same time, it is important that all the government organs work in harmony to uphold the trust people of the country have held in them and ensure the objectives of the real and true democracy. This is all about the democracy revival versus democide. I hope you do like this episode. If you do like this episode, please share it to your friends and also share them about the Aspirant Voice UPSC.com, where you will get all the notes on the content of what I'm making. This is a way to make the complex current affairs simple. So this podcast is such an initiative. I hope you do like this and keep on sharing and keep on encouraging me, keep motivating me. On this note, I'm taking leave. This is MM, the Aspirant Voice, signing off.